everybody. Wow, it's very exciting for me to sit in the audience and listen to the people on this panel talking about the importance and the organic nature of providing value through cryptocurrency, providing ownership, creating longevity. These things 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I started playing MMORPGs and wishing that I could make money playing them, went against everything that everybody thought games were about. And because games became so immersive, the technology that enabled you to develop an MMORPG and the rich world that you could create basically created a situation where people started to live inside their fantasies. And as a natural byproduct of spending that much time inside a world, you have to be able to monetize your time. And so finally, game developers don't even think twice that that is the future of gaming, and that we now have the technology to achieve that. And so that is extremely exciting. So just a little bit of background about where I'm coming from in order to, before I show you what I'm doing. I was addicted to role-playing games through the 90s, and wished, as I was playing the first MUD on a bulletin board system, that the gold that I was earning could be real. And as I had this epiphany, or as I had this thought, I realized, wow, wait, this could be possible. And if every time you died, a little bit of the money, instead of all going to the developer, a little bit of it went to underwrite the value of the gold currency inside the games. And this led me to getting very passionate about it, and actually creating an avatar in a MMORPG called Entropia Universe, which was the first virtual world where everything had a real cash value. The cryptocurrency inside a centralized MMO was tied to the dollar. And this launched in 2002, 2003. It survives today, and I, who started playing it, was able to make a living for 20 years and build a game studio and get into the Guinness Book of Records, and also see many people achieve, monetize their time playing. So, having done that for 20 years, we came up against a wall, a problem with MMOs. And the problem is that you can't invest years in more than one avatar. It's just impractical. So even though we had tremendous successes with World of Warcraft and EVE Online and other MMOs, the promise of the genre was thwarted by the fact that it's just impractical to build more than one avatar and be able to play so deeply inside a number of worlds. And as a result, a developer's revenues became stunted, the growth of the company, and so basically it has stagnated. So what I wanted to do, coming from the point of view of a player inside a world as well as a developer of a world, was find a way to connect these worlds so that we could actually get value as we jumped from world to world. And that's why the blockchain suddenly became provided a solution. So, on that note, I'm going to explain why these dragons are flying around. So basically, what I felt was the way to address this in the simplest way was to find something that all games have in common that perhaps wasn't monetized, so that we could create a monetized system that could be shared by a lot of games, but that would not sort of invade the gameplay. So I settled on dying and teleportation. Typically, there's no charge, certainly real cash to fly around or jump from one area to another. And typically, especially in online games, you die way too much in order to actually charge people to come back to life. Although you certainly did pay to come back to life in an arcade game, in an online game that was not practical. So, but the thing is, nobody wants to pay for teleportation, and nobody wants to pay to come back to life. It's too expensive. So how do you get around that problem? Well, the way to get around it is that if the tokens that are required to teleport and come back to life can actually be looted in fragments while playing, traded and crafted into utility tokens, then actually players could embrace paying for teleportation and dying because they're actually earning money every time somebody does. So this made sense as a great utility token that could be interoperable and that developers could, agree, wow, why don't we use this same token that other games are using, because that way we are now achieving providing value to gamers as they go from one game to another. In addition to having these interoperable utility tokens, the next thing that is logical that can be interoperable is attributes and skills. Because most skills, there's a tremendous commonality in skills that are used from one game to another, whether it's skill, whether it's experience, whether it's wisdom, whether it's magic. So if games can share these skills, and you can find a system to balance the acquisition of these skills, then once again, we can start to create interoperable tokens and allow people to move from one game to another and take their value, their investment with them and apply it. And of course, there are ways that you can approach that where the developer can decide how they want to read a skill. So if somebody has a lot of skills and they feel, well, those skills are so easy to acquire over here, well, you can just read it in your game at 10% of the value. So there's a solution to all of the balancing issues. Okay, so basically Neverdie launched an ICO last year, had no idea about this, how to use this technology, just sort of on a wing and a prayer. And we actually completed it at this time last year, and since then we've built our crypto gaming wallet and our first game that utilizes all of these tokens. We've created the API so that it's turnkey for any game developer to use everything that we've done. It's all available, and it's all free, okay? The point, what we're trying to do is enable the gamers to gain value playing your games. So here's Dragon King. We built it as a proof of concept, but I've kind of fallen in love with it. This is, we have two versions, one that is live right now, and this is on the testnet. This version will go live in a couple of weeks. In this version, we've introduced additional characters. So it's very exciting. So let me show you a little bit of how this works. So basically, you have a whole bunch of dragons. So you can buy a dragon, you can pay with Ethereum, and when you purchase that dragon, this one is 0.01 ETH, this is our classic mode, right? So you can purchase the dragon. I'm going to have a pink one. I'll call it Sheba. My daughter likes pink dragons. I'll move it up to standard, so it's a little faster. You can play with either the MetaMask wallet, which then you have to go through this two-step process, or you can use the Neverdie wallet, which then eliminates that whole issue of confirmations. That's the advantage of having a centralized wallet. So basically, we have all of these different dragons, and you can purchase them at different tiers. You can cash your dragon out. So when you buy it, it's your Ethereum flying around. I'll have a look at my dragons. Here's one I got earlier on. Pink blockchain. Oh, here's my dragon hatching. So that was a transaction. Fortunately, this is a game that you don't have to do transactions every 2 seconds. So we can cope with the Ethereum blockchain scaling as it is. So here's Sheba flying around. I just bought her with Ethereum. If I click on Sheba right here, if I can see my cursor, here we go. There we go. I can actually see the value, right? And now what's really interesting here, so this is an Ethereum game. So suppose a developer has made this game and they're charging, like we're charging, 3% of that purchase price, right? So developer earned 3%. Okay, but this volcano is going to erupt once a day and it's going to kill 10% of the dragons. So Sheba's vulnerable. So now I want to protect Sheba. So here, I'm going to use a protection spell, cost 1 NDC, buy. So now, I've just protected Sheba, given her an extra life. Of course, I'm using MetaMask, so I've got to confirm the transaction. But I just used another cryptocurrency inside this game, right? So, in a minute, I'll see Sheba flying around with a halo and 1 protection. So here is a Ethereum-based game, and you could say it could be a dollar-based game. But now, we've introduced a utility token in a very organic way. I've protected Sheba with a Neverdie coin. What's great about that is that there's an entire formula and system around the Neverdie coin in how it can be looted inside games and how the economy and ecosystem of the Neverdie coin can incubate the development of games, how the developer, depending on how many times a day people are dying, can earn a revenue stream, a secondary revenue stream from the amount of times people are dying. So now we've just provided the developer with a secondary revenue stream besides their percentage of Ethereum, but also the gamer a way to monetize their time playing. In addition, in a very organic way, and I'll just show you again, I have a timer here, I've got to watch it. I can also buy a knight. Now the knights, this game's kind of fun. So basically, every 24 hours, the volcano erupts and kills 10%. There's all kinds of tiers of dragons, 0.01 ETH to 1 ETH. Depending on the value of the dragon will depend on how much of a share of the value of all the dead dragons they get. So the idea is to kind of have this cool spread of dragons to try to collect as much as possible of the revenue that's distributed every time the volcano erupts. But you can also get other characters, like knights, and you can attack dragons to try to reduce your enemies' numbers. In addition, and this is why this next update is really exciting to me, so my dragon is now trained, my knight is now training. In addition, you can unlock archers and mages. Okay, so my knight, this is happening on the blockchain, by the way. It's pretty cool. And so he's now fully trained. Let's go right here. I'm not going to protect him right now. I'm just going to teleport him. So I have to teleport my knight to the battlefield. Now again, if we were in the Neverdie wallet, you wouldn't have to confirm, but there we go. You've cast a teleportation spell. There we go. Oops. I just missed it. But he teleported to the battlefield already. So once again, utility tokens at work inside an Ethereum blockchain game, super smooth, organic, and very, very, very much a sort of a non-invasive type of functionality, utility that we see time and time again in different games, teleportation and dying. Now the amazing thing here, and this is the wonder of the blockchain, so every time you don't die when you have a battle, you actually accumulate experience, skill. If you're a knight, you'll gather strength. If you're a dragon, you'll get a bit of luck for not getting hit by lava. If you're a magician, you get some magic. If you're an archer, you'll get dexterity. And these tokens are awarded to you through our API, and then when they've accumulated enough, because of course there's a transaction fee, blockchain, gas transaction fee, when there's enough, you can just hit claim, and they'll go into your wallet. Then when you want to buy, for example, an archer, the API, the game is reading your wallet to determine if in that address you have, and it's not going to charge you, but it's going to check to see if you have enough skill or experience or dexterity for the different tiers of archers. So basically, this blockchain game and your wallet is functioning exactly in the way that your database would function in your old centralized game. So we're able to achieve this with the blockchain, and of course the cost of developing something like this is much less than if you're having to do it otherwise. So this is a great example. All of these coins, all of these tokens, all of these attributes are available for other developers to award to their users as they play, and basically the more developers that adopt the system, the more value these tokens gain. And so this is a system that we've created in order to provide infrastructure for new game developers to build on the blockchain, and it works, and so you know, it's a great example. Whether people want to adopt it doesn't matter, but it's a great example of what you can actually do. And this game is a full ecosystem. Somebody brought it up. A game has to be a full ecosystem. Nobody has to win each other's money in this game. The reason is, let's say that this was 200 people all playing with their Ethereum. An advertiser can come in and they can buy a balloon, and the value of their balloon starting from 0.1 to 1 ETH is then they can't cash it out. It's distributed to the players when it pops. And it's actually, when an archer pops a balloon, it goes into the castle, and if an archer survives a week, it gets its wages. So this game, the value in the smart contract will grow in the same way that, you know, progressive slot grows in Las Vegas or a lottery, and it will continue to grow so that people can actually play, earning their revenue from the advertiser. Then of course you can try to win other people's money and play poorly or well, but effectively it's a true ecosystem, and very, very simple design. It's taken a year to develop with a very lean and mean team, and all of the API fully available. So it's just an example of what's possible on the blockchain. I think that's it for me. Thank you very much. Thank you.